Testing, testing. This is Vince testing the hearing room audio. Can you hear me?
Hearing room audio sounds good. We are live and recording.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is 1:30 p.m. on Tuesday, April 27th. Welcome to the Douglas County Board of County Commissioners business meeting. If you will all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Ingalls, do we have certification of our agenda today?
We do, Mr. Chair. My office has reviewed all items on today's agenda, and they all meet legal approval. As a matter of procedure, item 4C has been replaced with a revised resolution, and I understand you'll address that when we get to it. I also understand that item 3E will be discussed separately by the board, but it will remain on consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Ingalls. Do we have any commissioner disclosures for today's agenda?
No, sir.
I have none.
Thank you. So at this time, we will move into citizen comment. And thank you all for being here with us today. If you have any public comment that is not related to an item that is on the agenda today, you're welcome to come up to the dais and share with us your comments. Do we have anyone here to speak on an item that is not on the agenda? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. I don't know if this is on the agenda or not.
If you could please state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Peter Smith, 4087 Castle Butte Drive in Castle Rock in the wonderful community of Keene Ranch. So I don't know if broadband's on the agenda today, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So in the midst of all this strife, I come to distract you a little bit and have a discussion on broadband. So I'm here to offer my services in helping you develop a plan and strategy for probably the most important infrastructure investment you can make, which is improved broadband access to all of Douglas County. This pandemic has caused a major shift in work habits, including a major increase in work at home. This shift is especially prevalent in Douglas County based on our demographics and location between the two largest cities in the state. This means an increased demand for high-speed, reliable, and upgradable internet. My background is as an engineer, businessman, and entrepreneur, and each of you know me from many shared culinary events. I spent over 30 years building and operating communication systems, and I'm still a business owner. I was the executive in charge of building many metropolitan cable television systems, including Denver, its suburbs, including Highlands Ranch. We also built Kansas City, Memphis, Indianapolis, Rochester, and many, many others. I led the installation of the very first fiber optic project in a cable system in Kansas City in the early 1980s. Currently, bring it a little closer to home, I am managing the installation of a fiber to the home project in my community of Keene Ranch, which is south of here off of Toma Road, with 246 lots. We are now active with service to the first few lots with speeds up to 1 gigabit per second on large acreage lots. Just showing you that things can be done that people don't anticipate. We paid for it through an assessment which received support from over 2/3 of the residences. Service prices in the community are very competitive. So Douglas County is going to be the recipient of some significant federal largesse in the near future, depending on what they pass in Congress and what they don't, but I know there's money coming already. So, and I hope to convince you to allocate substantial sums of that to improvements in broadband. So I'm suggesting we should have a conversation before you hire expensive consultants, and I'm available for meetings at your convenience. I expect you know where to find me, and I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We recognize how important broadband is to our rural communities. Do we have anyone else in the audience today that would like to have a public comment that is not related to an item on the agenda? Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. If you could state your name and address for the record.
I am Ryan Parker, 1244 Bergonaut Trail, Castle Pines. All right. Well, thank you. I just want to briefly mention that A few months ago, there was an article in the Denver Post that came out about Douglas County lighting. And I'm the chairman for the International Dark Sky Association Colorado chapter of the IDA. Basically what that means is I'm an advocate for trying to reduce light pollution through responsible outdoor lighting. And I'm coming to you today briefly just to ask and reiterate if you would reconsider adopting or making a resolution to the current lighting codes to include residential and street lights, basically having them shielded. Right now, we're experiencing Lights Out Colorado, which is a movement where there's billions of birds migrating across the United States. Thursday, it's expected to have 1.8 billion birds flying over Colorado. If everybody was on board with just shielding their lights, it's not just about astronomy or nature, it's also about safety. So it's actually safer having fully shielded lights. So I just wanted to ask if you'd reconsider that at some point, looking at our current codes so that we actually apply those building codes to the resolution. And with all the new homes, over 15,000 homes being built in Douglas County, as you know, we talked about the pandemic, more people moving out to the country, more people are turning on lights. And so the joys of coming to Colorado is being changed drastically, and we're losing that protection of nightscapes and landscapes because we have so much light pollution. From a personal private property rights standing, I get it, right? You don't want to tell anybody what you can and cannot do. But it's the same thing as far as public safety and health, and that's what this comes down to. If you want to have lights on your property, great, just keep it on your property. If you don't, then that's fine, shut them off. But consider that, if you will, from a safety standpoint first, plus the economic benefit of reducing that, and then of course the overall health for nature and humans. So when you get a chance, think about that and we can talk about this later. So thank you very much.
Mr. Parker, thank you for your comment. Do we have anyone else today in the audience that would like to make a public comment on an item not related to the agenda? And ma'am, if you could state your name and address for the record.
Della Ingrando, 1469 Nemrick Place, Castle Rock. I'm just here today to support all my commissioners, and I believe and trust in them that they will do the best for all of us in Douglas County, our state, and our nation. And I just want to thank you all again for all the efforts you're doing, and I'm sure we'll all be proud of you all. I know I am, and I support each and every one of you.
Thank you, Ms. Ingrando. Thank you for your comment. Do we have anybody else today that would like to share with the Board of County Commissioners? Yes, sir.
Hi there, how are you? I'm Gary Vavra. I was at the last meeting, and a lot of people spoke about liberties being taken away. And I was just curious why Douglas County has decided not to allow the sale of cannabis in the county. It seems to me that's taking some liberties away from people.
Thank you, sir. And I'm sorry, did you state your name and address for the record? Did we hear that?
Gary Vavra.
And your address, okay. Well, thank you for that comment. We're not taking questions on that now or much discussion, but we do welcome you to engage with us and our staff, and we'll be happy to have that discussion. Thank you for sharing that with us today. Is there anyone else in the audience today that would like to comment? Okay, seeing none, in the interest of all of the public that are here today, we do have a fairly extended agenda, but because there are so many folks here, I would suggest that we move for item 4C up today so that we can hear that first, and I will take a motion on that to that effect.
Move to move 4C up in the agenda.
Second.
There's a first and a second. All in favor of moving 4C up, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
And that passes 3-0. At this time, I would like to address this particular resolution, and in particular, this resolution that you're seeing today may be somewhat different from what you saw in earlier agendas that were published prior to today. From our perspective, this is a revision of certain appointments of the Board of County Commissioners, and in this resolution, the three of us have made a decision to work together upstream and have all three of us act as equal co-chairs as we work through some challenges. And if, as a point of personal privilege, I would like to read a statement from the three of us entitled "The Path Forward." Our citizens do not care what we are in conflict over. They simply want peace, calm, and a government that works. After a year of managing a global pandemic on a local level, we recognize that tensions are running high among everyone at work, at home, around kitchen tables with families, and perhaps even as we sleep at night. But now more than ever, we as commissioners must demonstrate to our citizens and each other how Douglas County resolves conflict, that we can rise above any challenge, no matter how difficult, and truly govern with excellence. At the current moment, we recognize there are challenges that we still must work through. However, in the interest of delivering peace to those we serve at this critical time of recovery, and to provide assurance that their government will continue to function at the highest level of excellence, we will be permanently substituting the former resolution to reorder our leadership and in good faith attempt to resolve our difficulties through the appropriate internal channels. Whether it is returning our lives and livelihoods to normal after COVID, protecting kids, finding mental health solutions, delivering on traffic solutions without raising taxes, or improving our parks and open space, this board has a track record of leadership and will continue to be a beacon of light to our community, working through our differences as adults and colleagues. I'm honored to share that my colleagues, my fellow commissioners, George Teal and Laura Thomas, have agreed to this statement, and the board has further agreed to rotate as equal co-chairs during this 30-day period beginning Thursday of each week, and I would submit this statement to our county council to enter into the record.
That will be marked Exhibit 1 for today's hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Ingalls. I will now turn it to Commissioner Laura Thomas. Sure.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm standing because I'm going to continue to stand up for each and every one of you. What I want to do is, first of all, thank you for the prayers. For the last week, I have had people who, I don't even know how they got my cell phone number, have called me to tell me that they're praying for me. And I just want you to know how much that means to me, first of all. I have been honored throughout my life to do so many great things for the public. I was a state trooper right here in Douglas County, and I had the ability to handcuff someone and take their freedom from them. And I never did that lightly. I knew how important that was. Then I served as your county coroner. And at that time, I had the ability to sign a death certificate. And my decision could change an insurance decision. It could change what a family thought. But the most important thing I've ever done so far is serve as your county commissioner. I am honored every day to come to work and represent each and every one of you for what I believe is right for our community. And I understand how important it is because it only takes 2 votes to do anything. And that's why I find this so important. And that's why I serve with Abe and George, to do the right thing for our community. I have agreed to rotate the chair for 30 days to see if we can work something out. But I want you to all know how much I appreciate you being here and wanting to tell us what you think. And I pray that at the end of the 30 days that these two agree that I am honorable and that I will be put back in the position of chair. So thank you for being here for me today.
Thank you, Laura, for that. Thank you. Mr. Teal, Commissioner Teal.
Well, thank you all for coming today. I mean, obviously, this is something that touched you guys. This is something that got you to come in and participate in the process. You know, it was only a few years ago I was very much in your position. I was very much like you. Something was going on. It got me fired up. It got me, as I like to say, off the couch and down to the Castle Rock Town Hall to make sure that my voice was known. Well, that led to a trip to the Castle Rock Town Council for a number of years, and that brings me before you today. So thank you for coming. I do realize many of you have very clear views on things that you have heard the last couple days. I will tell you, I had very clear views myself, and I was willing to make those views into action. Today, something very interesting happened. As Commissioner Thomas said, this is a three-person board. You know, two people can make a decision. Often, I think you see us up here making decisions as three people. And a decision as three people was made today. And I got to tell you, the first time I saw it thrown out, I was not sure I was a fan of it. But then I did see Commissioner Thomas step forward and agree to it. And then, you know, I saw the wisdom of it myself. Obviously, we've got a lot to work on as a board. You don't care about that. So you do care that we have a lot to work on? Mostly you want us doing your work, though, not doing personal things here amongst ourselves.
You got to stop the dumpster fires.
We got to stop the dumpster fires. We got to do
Yes, if
your
we
work.
can actually keep, hey, well, we need to keep order. No, this is, citizen comment is not right now. We're going to let Commissioner Teal finish what he has to say.
Yeah, guys, you're going to get an opportunity to speak. We're not going to silence.
It's coming up right now.
Anyhow, thank you for coming. Thank you for having an interest in what goes on here. This is your work. This is your board. This is your county. And we work for you.
I would agree with that. We often say we work for you, not the other way around. And as proof of that, it is now public comment on this particular item 4C. So I do have a sign-up sheet. If you did not sign up, you can still comment, but we will begin in the order of the individuals that have signed up. I believe we did hear from Peter Smith. Peter, did you want to comment on item 4C today? No. Okay, so we will move on from Mr. Smith. I have a George Allen. Come on up. And if you could state your full name and address for the record, please.
George Allen, 19755 Pikes Peak Avenue, Parker. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, professional staff, distinguished guests, I rise today to respectfully oppose Resolution 6822, which is the resolution as it was written and published on the county website this morning before the changes you spoke of. The resolution to demote and censure Commissioner Thomas, I oppose. This resolution has an emotional and unprofessional tone. It includes a lot of inflammatory language and accusations and assertions, and it's woefully short on facts. The resolution does not even explain the decision Commissioner Thomas disagreed with. This resolution I found unpersuasive and inappropriate. I requested from the county the 5 egregious emails sent by Commissioner Thomas, and what I received from the county in return was weak and unpersuasive evidence of any misconduct or ethical violation. So I wonder if the board has the political support for demoting Commissioner Thomas. Has the board circulated this resolution among the voters and community leaders for a debate? The citizens? Is there a large group of voters who are demanding Commissioner Thomas be demoted or censured? Is there? Or is this a political game by the board to override Commissioner Thomas's political priorities? Well, the issue with Commissioner Thomas is not going to end with this resolution or the change, because I'm going to do my own investigation of this dispute. And I think the board will agree with me, based on my long record of doing political oversight of the county and E470 Public Highway Authority. I see things you don't see. I catch errors the board misses. Now, before this resolution now has my full attention, and before the board approves this resolution, keep in mind, Commissioner Thomas has a track record, and it's a pretty good one. She does protect the little guy from bigger and bigger local government, from bossy local officials and higher taxes. She opposed all the spending excesses of the sheriff's department, like the driving track and the crime lab. She fought hard to protect local businesses during the pandemic, which was very valuable service and strenuous service on her part, which I appreciate. So I do not believe board members, that you have the political support for this emotional resolution, and I would encourage you to defeat it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. The next individual is Della Ingrando. Della, we heard from you earlier. Did you want to speak again? Ms. Ingrando, did you want to speak again? Okay, I think you already spoke. Okay. So now we have Nicole Martin.
My name is Nicole Martin, and I live at 12115 Glasgow Court in Parker, Colorado. First, I'd like to say I'm a wife of a man who owns a roofing company here in Douglas County. I was born and raised here. I'm a mother of two and a Republican. And I sincerely want to start by thanking you guys for the light that you are to all of the Republicans out there. Douglas County and what you guys have done is truly the one light that we have right now, especially in this environment and in Colorado. I want to say that as a female Republican woman, we do not have in Colorado very much female leadership that we can look to. Now, and I'm not here to say that you're not, that you are the good old boys and you two are, I don't want to just talk negatively about your integrity at all, but I would just ask from someone who is a young Republican mother, business owner. I actually work for a nonprofit. What Laura Thomas has done I work for a small church, and when Tri-County Health was coming and legitimately harassing us on a weekly basis, trying to shut us down, it was Laura who was able to come and help us fight Tri-County Health. When I know that you took a ton of heat when you withdrew us from Tri-County Health, but I want to thank you for doing that, for getting us out of that. That was horrible. And for whatever it's worth, when it comes to dealing with any sort of liberal media, I don't feel like you all get a fair shake. And I feel like this got way blown out of proportion and got taken. But I would just ask that if you are willing to, just humbly, I would just ask you that to let Laura Thomas lead. She can lead this, not that you can't, but she is a light to many women, Republican women. And so that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. We greatly value our Republican women, that's for sure. I have Bev Carson. Is Bev Carson here? And Troy or Chris, if we can put up the timer so the citizens can see how much time they have. Ms. Carson, if you can state your name and your address for the record, please.
I'm Beverly Carson, and I've lived in Perry Park at 4917 Chippewa Drive since 1973 and raised our three sons there. I just wanted to say that commissioners are elected to represent the taxpayers and not what would benefit them. We don't pay taxes for a part-time commissioner, nor do we pay taxes to pay for babysitting. A couple of you are taking advantage of us by not actually representing our interests rather than yours. We need to protect our water and control our growth, not work with special interests such as developers who line their own pockets and possibly yours. It appears to me that you too are simply power hungry. Don't squander our hard-earned incomes by spending our taxes on items we don't want. Don't give us platitudes. Why are you creating conflict among you commissioners and not follow what you have just preached today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carson. And as a point of personal privilege, I'm going to address that comment because I take that very personally. I have the calendar and the record to reflect that I work 60 to 80 hours a week. And at the beginning of this pandemic, it was 80 hours a week. I'm not a babysitter. I'm a dad. I've got 3 kids, and I honor that commitment to my family and to my wife. The next speaker is Mike Doval. Mr. Doval. Okay, I don't see a Mr. Doval. Evelyn, oh, Mr. Doval.
I came here to speak today about the resolution. We're with her, Laura being taken off as a county commissioner, as the chair of county commissioners. Excuse me, I got a dry throat. And I came out here to protest it. I see that you put that off now. I'm not going to reiterate what the first gentleman had to say when he came up here, but I'm in line with what he said. But I'd also like to add, you know, whenever you're thinking about people and you're talking about working 60 hours a week, I've worked a lot of hours too, and a lot of us haven't been paid what we need to be paid because of this pandemic. And to take on anything in this county that could potentially cause our taxes to go up is unconscionable. I don't know about you folks, but a lot of people have been out of work, and the last thing they need is to have their taxes go up. And I guess that's the thrust of what I want to say. You guys need to work together. I really liked her and what she's doing. I think she needs to be back as chairman of the commissioners, and that's pretty much what I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Doval. Evelyn Zur. Is Ms. Zur here?
My name is Evelyn Zur, and I live at 5915 Ponderosa Way in Parker, Colorado. I want to thank the commissioners for reconsidering. This has been a very unpleasant, petty conflict, which has kind of put a black cloud, in my opinion, on our 3 commissioners. And as far as I'm concerned, it looks like no one wins, and you all lose. And I'm referring not to your recent resolution, but the ones that I read that was on the website. And I went through the resolution, I went through the censoring, I went through the apology demand letter, and I also went through the stripping of the chairmanship. It seemed to me that it was petty and judgmental from what I read, and it was very distressing. It was very distressing. And I want you to know that many of us who voted for Laura did not vote for Laura because of her style. We voted for her because of her substance. And her substance, the thing that Laura just over and over and over asked, is this the proper role of government? Is this the proper role of government? Is this the proper role of government? I like that. She has been a fighter, and she has been a guardian of the people that she serves. And quite frankly, I am thankful that you've made the resolution, and I guess that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Zur. Thank you, Ms. Zur. We have Joy Overbeck. Ms. Hi, Ms.
I'm
Overbeck.
Joy Overbeck. I live at 19692 East Man Creek Drive in Parker, and I am so thankful that you 3 have reached some kind of resolution on this, however it's temporary, I guess. I of course, all of us thought that this resolution, the previous resolution, was on the table, so most of us are speaking to that, as am I. I want to quote from that unconscionable resolution that you were going to vote on, and now that you've rescinded it, I still want to talk about it because you had said, quote, "The power of the people of Douglas County must be wielded with discipline and integrity, lest it become a terrible weapon of tyranny within our republic," and actually within our county. And so I will ask you going forward to please, when you look at what you're going to do next, keep that thoroughly in mind, because it's actually you, Abe Layden, and you, George Teeler, that were wielding that weapon of tyranny against Laura Thomas, who has done nothing to deserve it. I'm happy that you have averted this for now, and I urge you to reinstate her as chair, because in your attempt to destroy the reputation and good name of Laura Thomas, I'm afraid that you will destroy your own reputations and good names. And on the flimsiest of excuses, of pretenses. As you well know, Laura Thomas did not lie about the media protocol of the commissioners taking turns in responding to media requests. She was simply mistaken in believing it was written down, because it has been the longstanding practice of the commissioners to take turns in responding to these media requests during the more than 4 years that she has been a commissioner. So of course she thought it was written down somewhere. In your resolution, you assert that she has been given every opportunity to speak, but of course you know that's not true, because Mr. Layden told her she was too untrustworthy to speak to the New York Times, and then took the interview yourself, Abe. Mr. Teal, many of us, I don't have to really go over Commissioner Thomas's background. We all know she's an exemplary woman who has done wonderful things for Douglas County against all odds. She got the I-25 GAP project when everybody was against her, when all the power seats of this government and this county were against her. It was a daunting task. Her integrity and dedication to the people of this county is beyond question, so much so that she was reelected by 17 points over her Democrat rival. We all know her as a feisty, strong-minded woman, and that's one of the things we love about her. Yes, she can make mistakes, but Mr. Teal and Mr. Layden, you have no right to try to silence her from speaking out and exercising her First Amendment right of free speech. This is the big boy and big girl world of real politics. You cannot cancel her but just because she wants to keep government small and she believes that you're trying to grow government with programs such as C-Space, which she believes puts Douglas County taxpayers at risk. And by the way, both our county treasurer and our county assessor agreed with her, and you passed it anyway. How dare you
Ms.
defame and
Overbeck, you are over time by a bit.
Okay, we're
You can
lucky
wrap
to
up.
have Laura Thomas, and I beg you to reinstate her as chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Overbeck. We have Laura Wolf. Is Laura Wolf here?
Hi, my name is Laura Wolf. I live at 10055 Cotton Creek Drive in Highlands Ranch. Thank you very much for letting me come up and speak, and I thank you for all of your hard work and dedication to our community. I raised two small boys in our community, and I feel like I'm a proud resident because of the three of you. And Laura has represented my best interests and my family's best interests. We believe in having less government intervention and less government dollars being spent in our community. And so I would just request politely that you reinstate Laura as chair after this 30-day trial period. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf. We have Tony Matthews. Is Mr. Matthews here? Hi, Mr. Matthews. If you could just state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Tony Matthews, 6738 Green River Drive, Highlands Ranch.
Thank you. You can proceed.
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, I am here to voice support for Commissioner Thomas. After being a retired and disabled United States Marine, I also served in law enforcement for 10 years in the state of Louisiana with the Orleans Parish Criminal Sheriff Department doing Katrina after returning home from another tour of duty. Recently moved here a few years back. My wife is actually from this area. But after getting here and getting involved in local government and politics, I've seen nothing but great leadership from Ms. Thomas. I'm not really sure what the bickering is about amongst this panel of leadership. But one thing I can say is it's very disheartening to the citizens to see a woman of great stature and leadership characteristics and capability being cut down for doing what she's being paid to do. And to quote what she said, she doesn't work for Mr. Till, neither does she work for Mr. Layden. But in case you didn't realize it, she actually works for us. And if we see, the work that she's done, I don't see how you can, I don't even know why we're here talking about this. It makes no sense. You have leadership that's getting the job done, but yet we have others that I guess assume they can do better, but have done nothing to prove to us. The woman's gotten the job done with all of the things that she has had to face in politics, I'm sure, being, as has been aforementioned already, being a woman, a female Republican, doing the things that she's been able to do. I think it speaks great volume of her ability to continue to do so. My great-grandmother raised me with a 4th grade education. She owned our home. She owned the house that was on the property. She owned the vehicle that she drove. With the 4th grade education, she was able to work herself up through segregation down in the South, Memphis, Tennessee, where I'm from, to be a great woman in the community. And I see nothing but the same characteristics in Commissioner Thomas. Myself, of course, I am able to relate to her because of course, being of African-American descent and being a Republican. I'm often looked at as people will sometimes call me an Uncle Tom. But for those liberals that are uneducated, being from the South and being educated, I also understand and knew that Uncle Tom was a great man. He actually was a person that helped Harriet Tubman free the slaves doing the Underground Railroad. So when I get those names, it reminds me of how far we've come, but it also shows me how far we need to go. I'm here to show my support for the great leadership in which I've seen since being involved in local politics here in this area, and will continue to support Ms. Thomas. And I just ask you all, let's put all this bickering and this craziness to the side. We have more important things to worry about other than cutting each other down. And for that time, I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Thank you, Mr. Matthews. So I have one last individual on the sign-up sheet, but I cannot make out the name. The address is 9351. Looks like Chesterbrook. Is that person here? Name is sort of illegible, maybe a Kara? Okay. At this time, those are all the folks that I have signed up, but we would welcome anyone who would like to speak to go ahead and approach the podium. Yes, sir?
Thank you.
Absolutely. If you could just state your name and address for the record.
My name is David Kipp. I live at 3321 Westbrook Lane, Highlands Ranch, Colorado. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your service. It's extremely important to this county. Basically, probably the majority of the people here are conservative. I would hate to see this board turn into a Democratic liberal board. I think you have opened up the possibility of Democratic criticism by what has happened in the last couple weeks. I hope you worked very diligently to prevent that from happening again. I think as I hear what has been going on for the last couple weeks, it's probably important that more citizens, especially to include myself, become more involved in your meetings. Because I don't like what's happened at previous meetings. So take very seriously your role as conservative leaders. Stick with those conservative values. You owe us as your constituents to be good, solid, conservative citizens. Thank you again for your service. We will all be watching.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. If you could state your name and address for the record.
My name is John Hardin, Hardin. I live in Castle Rock, 1 Richardson Road. And I've lived in Castle Rock since early 70s. Castle Rock was 1,500 people when I moved here. I've served on the Planning Commission, and I've served on the Board of Trustees. I am somewhat embarrassed for the comments I'm about to make, but I think they should be made. I'm embarrassed because of the respect I have for the offices that you hold. The letter presented to the Commissioner Thomas will reappear at the next election, which the Democratic Party will present as evidence of the following. The Republican Party cannot select candidates who can best represent Douglas County. They are more interested in fighting with each other. The current incumbents are immature, as shown by airing their differences in public. How can they be trusted to manage the business affairs of the county if they waste time and energy on personal differences? The public trust has been damaged. Your conduct is unprofessional and will cause voters to reject Republican candidates, not only for commissioners, but also for other elected county offices. Any and all differences you have with each other should be aired in chambers behind closed doors. You need to present solid, united positions to the public and Douglas County voters in conducting county business. Please do so.
Thank you, Mr. Hardin. Yes, sir. You'll be next.
Roger Lanfear, 9636 Keystone Trail, Parker. I've lived in Parker a short time, only since 1991. So I did not become aware of this until this past week. I blame part of it on the pandemic. The pandemic has put all of you underground, not visible to everybody's eye. The monthly breakfasts was a good place to listen to you and ascertain whether you were truthful or not. So, I have one question and a couple of comments. What is the purpose of CPACE, and why is Douglas County monies involved with commercial businesses? There is no reason for it. That's one comment. Laura has been an excellent commissioner. Roger Partridge was a good commissioner. He changed his opinion on CPACE. Now, I won't get into personalities because I don't like to do that. But I would say, having been a combat Marine, if I had to choose one person in this group to depend upon, that person would be Laura, pure and simple.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Russ Maneri, 6030 Apache Drive, Larkspur. I live in Perry Park. This would apply to all the county commissioners. First off, thank you for your service. You're guardians of the public trust. First thing I would point out, there's an African proverb that says, when the elephants fight, the ants get crushed. You're looking at a room full of the ants.
No, we're not.
In that proverb, the elephants are fighting. That's counterproductive to the public trust. The policies that you put into place, the ways that you behave, impact your constituents. Please figure out a way to work together. The second thing that I would point out is that conservatism, I think, is defined nicely by Thomas Jefferson, who said, that government is best which governs least. That applies taxes, laws, policies, and general governance. And so if it ain't in the Constitution, we don't need it. Please figure out ways to reduce government footprint, bureaucracy, laws, rules, regulations, and taxation in our lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Miner. Hi, if you could just state your name and address for the record.
Hello, I'm Deborah Palkuski, 9761 Westbury Way, Highlands Ranch, Colorado. Laura Thomas believes and practices excellence in her service to Douglas County. What is being done to her is absolutely outrageous. She needs to be reinstated as chair right away. I understand you made a little overgap here. That'll work for right now, but she needs to be reinstated. Excellence in service, in communication, and involvement with the citizens of Douglas County is what Laura Thomas does. She has pride in what she does, and she does it with honor and integrity. What you two have done is absent those two things. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Palkuski. Hi, if you could just state your name and address for the record.
Robin Coran, 753 Stony Mesa Place, Castle Rock, Colorado, 80108. Commissioners, I would like to just share with you today, number one, this is not personal. I have a passion for our founding as a nation and the work and the sacrifice that our founding fathers did in order for us to have the freedoms that we have today. And I care a lot about the proper role of government when it comes to elected officials working from their heart, doing and protecting the rights of their citizens, because that's what this is all about. And I want to commend Commissioner Laura Thomas for truly knowing and exercising the proper role of government, for upholding what our founding fathers wrote in the Declaration of Independence, that government is only instituted to protect our God-given rights of life, liberty, and property, whether it's at the federal, state, or local level. You have been a champion of protecting our God-given rights, and I commend you. And I say this after watching the votes of this commission, because of late, it seems like a 2-1 vote. And Laura has been voting the conservative vote in protecting those rights. A record says a lot, and her record says that she consistently votes to protect our private property and our rights. Especially in light of all the impacts of COVID, this is no time to be spending taxpayer dollars on programs and projects that we have not consented to. This is no time to grow government in our lives. It is a time to get government off of our backs, especially in light of what we're seeing at the federal level across this nation when communism and socialism is raising its ugly head and trying to control every part of our lives. This is a time when we must roll back government and stand up and be that conservative vote for the people. Please protect my property rights. Laura has done an awesome job in her first term and going into her second term, and she's proven to be that conservative vote, guarding and protecting our rights. And by the way, it's not the amount of hours that you put in, because I can say I have worked many 60, 80, and 100-hour weeks, and I can tell you it's the principles that you promote that count. Thank you for your time, and I want to let you know that many people, including myself, I am a minister of the gospel, we are committing this into prayer. We are the people, the Republican Party, that believe in the power of prayer, and I am praying for each one of you. I can honestly say I love each one of you, and we will commit this to prayer, but please, in your hearts, please know the proper role of government is not to grow government in our lives and not to, through these programs, take money out of our pockets without our permission. Please protect our rights. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Curran. And if everyone is able to just address the microphone so that it picks up for those that are tuning in, I would appreciate it. Thanks. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Will Martin. I live at 12115 Glasgow Court, Parker. And, you know, I wanted to be somewhat prepared when I got out here, but it was just easier for me to speak from the heart. But the little bit that I did look up is I started looking up Commissioner Thomas's accomplishments going back to 2012. I started writing a bunch of stuff down, and then when I started to get writer's cramp, I realized that this woman has done an incredible work. You know, one of the things that has been kicking our rears, and I say us, I'm talking about the Republican Party, conservatives, our Achilles heel for the last 40 years has been disunity. And when I receive a text message at 8:30 at night on a Thursday that says, a couple weeks ago, last night our colleague, talking about Commissioner Thomas, chose herself over the county, over our shared values, and over you with lies and negativity. I can keep reading the text message, but I read this and I still had no idea what this woman was being accused of. I just read the text message. And I want to tell you something right now, because of you, and I thank you, because of you, Douglas County is a city on a hill, and it is a light to the rest of Colorado. And what's going to keep it that way is going to be the spirit of unity. You know, liberals, love them or hate them, they have a unified front. They might take it out on each other behind closed doors, but you know what? They're unified. And that has been our problem for the last 30, 40 years. And I know you guys are working on it. You're working on some things right now, and I can appreciate that. But let me remind you that there is a difference between motion and action. Motion is preparing. Motion is thinking about what to do. Motion is going over different decisions, trying to decide a route. We don't need motion. We need action. And the action we want is for Commissioner Thomas to be reinstated. We're not... Call her strong, call her feisty, but that's what we want. We don't want a yes woman. We don't want that. We want her. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Anyone else that would like to address the board on this item?
Oh, I'm sorry. You want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm quick. Good afternoon. My name is May Sands from 10,000 Strathville Lane. I'm a naturalized American citizen. Let me tell you, I grew up around dictatorship, corruption, and tyranny, and I can recognize it easily. And I'm gonna grow with the community to call you 100% accountable, and that's my message to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sands. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm Police Commander John Anderson. I worked for Castle Rock for 40 years. I served and protected Castle Rock and Douglas County for all that time. Thank you. And many of you are going to not like what I want to hear, but I think that since we're talking about getting the record straight, I think that it's time that we do that, because I have some information here that I want to share with everyone. Commissioner Thomas has called public attention to herself as being, in her words, bullied and dismissed by the good old boys, and projecting herself as a victim and claiming that she is blameless. I'll let you be the judge of the definition of a bully, because that is her comments and her definition of what these two other candidates are, or these other two commissioners are. I believe we need to call out a pattern of behavior, as this is what causes division. Today is what has caused division and is very unproductive. And what I'm going to tell you is that I thought about myself signing a restraining order against Ms. Thomas over the comments that she has made against me for many years and even up to this date. But I refuse to do that because it brings division amongst the party. We can handle it between ourselves, as which I've done here, and I'm going to read to you what I have done for her. And this is wrong for Commissioner Thomas to step out and call all of us in here in chaos, in which somebody said we're the beacon on the hill, and now we're being noticed and recognized. However, I'm going to read some stuff here, and they're all facts. I have personally been the target of Commissioner Thomas' attacks when I was a candidate for sheriff. She admitted and accepted hush money from elected officials to politically execute me as a candidate, and to also admitted to distributing slanderous material about me to delegates the night before the county assembly. I think some of you remember all of that. Ms. Laura Thomas was the head of that. Years later, she came to me for supports. So in the past, I forgive all for the Republican Party, because we knew that the Democrats are pushing hard against us, which they're doing now. I forgive all that, and I supported her, and I called up a good nationally known singer to my ranch, and we'd done a fundraiser for a re-election for her, and I personally spent a lot of money, as did other people, to put this on and raise $20,000. I'm doing my very best to try to keep unity here. I recently mentioned I was exploring running for sheriff to her during this time, and it all went south again, because Commissioner Thomas wants people in here she can control and dominate. I think this is part of the problem here. Thomas told me not to run, very blunt about that. She said, but she has a candidate named Chris that she would like to be sheriff, but he has done nothing for the party. He's done anything with the county, but she wants to control that power. And I said, he's done nothing, and what does he know about being a sheriff? Well, you can teach him how to be a sheriff in Douglas County. You just don't run. She told me to the others that Chris will win over the soccer moms in Highlands Ranch with his big baby blue eyes. I find this to be very insulting to educated Republican women. I still had not decided to run, but began receiving calls that I was being publicly slandered again by County Commissioner Laura Thomas. I am now a private citizen. I retired 3 years ago after my 40 years of service. These actions are unethical and demonstrate abuse of power to intimidate from her position as a commissioner to defame a private citizen.
Mr. Anderson, I appreciate your comments. You are at time, so if you could wrap up your comments.
That clock was not restarted when he went up there. The lady before, she ran down maybe 30 seconds, and she left, and that clock was not restarted.
Okay, well, is that, Chris, if you can give him an additional 30 seconds, please.
I'll talk very fast. I'll just read it. I'm sharing this to show a pattern of behavior to defame others, to elevate herself, and taking her fight to the public to gain sympathy and support. This behavior needs to be addressed for the good of our county. In addition to the attacks on me, Ms. Thomas has a history of becoming divisive when she is not in control and doesn't get her way, and is resonant to her public statements to undermine fellow commissioners. You don't want to mess with me. I've been told that before by her. Her departure from the State Patrol, public vending machine, battle with the Sheriff Weaver, battles over crime scene processing, harassment of the deputy coroner, who was paid a settlement because of her actions against, and also the harassment which Coroner Jill, the coroner now, can give to you if you ever wish to converse with her. This divisiveness is public display damaging to the party and to our county, and these actions are a bully of a narcissist. Character is important. We cannot tolerate this kind of conduct anymore. Our citizens deserve better. I feel it's the best interest of our county to have new leadership on the board and not allow this type of behavior to overshadow all that has been done good for our commissioners. In closing, I want to thank all of you, including Laura, because she has done some good things. I appreciate that. But there's also the off-stage, behind the curtain scenes. Let's move on, get back to work, show the Democrats that Douglas County is number one, and we'll continue to move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Brian Parker, 1244 Bergenot Trail. You know, I've heard a lot of intelligent things said today. There's brilliant people in this room. Obviously, the commissioners are very brilliant to be here too. And I sit back and go, what is the most important principle of what's being said here? I guess to all of the commissioners, grace, right? Mistakes have been made, and I would just ask that you guys would have grace with each other, as much as the Thomas rally would have grace with the other commissioners. Because what we see on the outside doesn't always equate to what's really happening on the inside. So I would like you guys to consider that there's a possibility of two stories, right? What is being at face value, and then what is actually happening behind the scenes. So keep that in mind in moving forward, not just for you, but also for everybody out here. That I wonder, Ms. Thomas, if being a female makes you stand a little higher as an icon. People look up to you. But I sometimes wonder if that allows you to get by with a few things. I don't know. But I'm just saying, if gender were not an issue, would we be here today?
Good question.
So, with that said, all I ask is that you guys work together and take time to really evaluate what's important. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Do we have any additional citizen comment?
George Melvin, 491 South Highway 67. 9 years ago, when my wife passed away at home, the death certificate came out with the wrong date on it. I was pretty upset about that. I was told by the doctors and everyone concerned that the death certificate date could not be changed. But then I managed to run into Laura Thomas, and it was at a very busy meeting when I ran into her. She said she would look into it. I figured, she'll come back with, no, it can't be changed. But she did get it changed for me, and I certainly appreciate that. At the time, she was a county coroner, and I believe I know she did a much better job of running it than the previous coroner, and she also ran that at a much lower cost to the county. And those signs that went out at before the election were nicely printed up and pasted on the bathroom walls. I don't think it was Laura that put that bad stuff out on the sheriff. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Melvin. Welcome back.
Della Granda, 1469 Number Place, Castle Rock. This is directed to our chair. Chair, what is the reason why the resolution originally against Laura?
Well, unfortunately, Ms. Ingrando, this is public comment, so we're not going to engage in debate here, but certainly we are going to spend the next 30 days working on that issue. You're welcome to comment.
Well, I'm for truth and transparency. I was led to believe Laura did a violation. Now, I don't care who it was, or if it's our preacher man or whoever. If you were in violation of something, you need to be punished or a recourse of some sort. And I was under the understanding the reason why you're chair and why Laura is not chair for the time being, because you changed 360 degrees over 2 times with this meeting than what was led us to believe. Now, since you're the chair now, and now the newest resolution is you will rotate the chair for 30 days, and hopefully Laura everyone will find her inhonorable and she did not do a violation or whatever, and she will be the forever chair. Now, I don't understand any of that. If she was in violation, she needed to be removed. But then you're all saying no. You're either saying she did not violate anything and has really made a fool out of all of us. Or those of us who had access to that information. I don't even believe our Douglas County officers, or GOP officers, even knew of all the resolutions that were out there, or her termination or anything. I don't think they knew that, and I don't even think the state chair knew. Even she was brought into it to bring a resolve so you all would unify, which you did this morning. So all these, to me, all these other comments supporting how great Laura is, which we know she's great, but the great people can make a violation. So now, I'm glad you made a resolve. That was an answer to my prayer, and everybody's been praying for all three of you all. Our whole county, we love our county, and I know you all love our county. But I don't understand where we stand with, is she no longer in violation?
Well, Ms. Ingrando, I appreciate those comments, and hopefully we'll have more to come. Thank you for
thanks.
that. Thank you for that. Do we have any additional citizen comment?
I'll throw my 2 cents in. Steve Lechner, 960 Independence Drive, Larkspur, Sageport. So many great words. Look at all these people here. This is probably the biggest meeting I watch online from time to time. This is awesome. This is participatory government. I heard some comments over the internet that people said there's no transparency. Why isn't, even the previous great lady, why can't we know these things? We elect you to move forward for us. We don't need to know when you go to the bathroom, when you take lunch, how many arguments you had in the hallway. We're beyond arguing about the candy machine in the hallway. No offense. Read the Westward article. This is so beneath us. This is so beneath us. There was a gentleman, I think his name was Harvey, who posted something. He's former service in the Lone Tree. The one thing I would say is if three get together and two say, listen, odd man out, you're not working for us, maybe the best thing is to defer for a while, and that's what we're getting right now. We're going to get a 1/3 sharing of power amongst you, and that's fantastic. What that really means is there's a 2/3 reduction in the amount of screw-ups that each one of you can probably do. And Lord knows that we don't need that anymore. It's been a dumpster fire to read the history of, Ms. Thomas. Nothing but debris follows in the wake, and we've got to stop that. It's so much, you have to work together, of course. We don't need to hear your squabbling. This is so much arguing over who the hell's going to be the prom queen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lechner. Yes, ma'am.
Maggie Roche, 11390 Night Heron Drive, Parker. I just want to thank Commissioner Thomas for really walking the talk and believing that we, the people, are who you serve and who you stand firm. And I thank you for standing firm, and I hope that you don't even have to have the 30-day trial of co-chairs. I hope you just take the co-chair. And this is a matter of trust. And so it's hard to earn back trust from the voters and the citizens, but that's what it's come down to. So I hope you draw together in unity and stand. Republicans need to gather around like liberals do so well, no matter what kind of discretions or what horrible things that they do draw together. And I'd like to see the three of you do the same. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any additional citizen comment on item 4C? Yes, sir.
My name's Doug Brader, 10518 Tracewood Circle in Highlands Ranch. I'm just here to encourage the commission to come together and, you know, stand unified with one another. My worry is that there are those in the wings out there who would take advantage of any kind of wedge between you guys and gals that they could come up with, you know, to diminish the power, not power, that's the wrong word, diminish the capability of this commission, which I believe is one of the finest counties in this state, or I wouldn't live here. And there's you guys on the Front Range, there's you guys and maybe Weld County left. And you know what I'm talking about, you know, and they've gotten into El Paso County pretty good too. So I just encourage you to get along with one another. I know I'm not talking to children, but from my standpoint, that's what I want. You guys can stand unified. You can get in a back room together, solve any problems that you may have, because you're good, conservative folks. And I trust you. And in order for my trust to stay with you, work this thing out, okay? That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Brader. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Jane Bender Moore, 4332 Red Rock Drive, Larkspur. I live in Perry Park. In the beginning of this meeting, I just detected, and I have quite a lot of auditory senses, and I detect a lot of arrogance in some of the things you said, just the tone. And I believe that you were one of us. You said you used to come to the meetings. And I think that it's important to remember that we elected you so that you can take care of our county and on our behalf. We need conservative values. We need constitutionalists. And arrogance is what has probably led this country to be where it is now. So please take heed and look at yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Van Moore. Is there any additional citizen comment?
Hi, I'm Aspen Edge, 1775 Ghost Dance Circle, Castle Rock, Colorado, 80108. I'm only 17 years old. I'm considered a minor. And so what you guys really need to consider is the new up-and-coming voters this year and next year. I'm a Republican. I can already say I'm a diehard Republican. And watching you guys and watching the diversity, being able to vote next year, young people are not going to want to vote for diversity. They're going to look to unity. And whatever quarrels you guys have, I'm here. I came to learn. I came to listen. I didn't really come here to stand up and talk. But listening to everybody here and all the diversity, you guys really, we need to form a unity as Republicans, because as an up-and-coming voter, left side media, they're so good at brainwashing young kids that are coming to learn, because whatever gets in one ear, it'll either go out the other ear, or they're gonna listen to the lies and the deceit. And that's not fair for us. And so if we wanna keep Douglas County commissioners on a Republican side, you guys need to work together, because up and coming voters, they're gonna listen to the left side media, and it's hard to choose what is right and what is wrong, especially if we have leaders and we need role models to look after. So just coming from a young voter that will be voting next year conservatively, please work together and figure it out. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Edge. And just as a point of personal privilege, thank you so much as a young Republican and just a young individual coming and taking your time to speak with us. Thank you for doing that. Do we have any additional individuals that would like to speak? Troy, do we have anyone online that would like to speak?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Commissioner Layden. I do have a list of folks that would like to speak. One moment. I'm going to be unmuting Robert Marshall. One moment. Mr. Marshall, you are unmuted. Go ahead.
Okay, this is Robert Marshall, Marshall, live at 2 Jackrabbit Place, Highlands Ranch, Colorado. I'm coming in because of concern on the 23 April 2021 published public letter that you had to Ms. Thomas, the termination of the chairmanship. And in that letter, in the second paragraph, second sentence, you all stated that you, meaning Ms. Thomas, have continued to misrepresent the truth and leverage your name, title, and apparent authority as chair of the Board of County Commissioners for personal gain politically and for those that have contributed to your campaign. Now, that last part of that sentence is very, very concerning. Was this letter vetted by the county attorney before it went out? I mean, those are very serious allegations. It's almost basically criminal conduct and could be criminal conduct, yet there are no specifics anywhere that I can find where you all backed up those allegations. So what are the allegations and the specifics for that? It's not fair to Douglas County citizens nor Commissioner Thomas to just leave this and sweep it under the rug because it benefits you all. I mean, if it's true, well, then Commissioner Thomas should be censured or pushed into resigning. And if it's not, the other two commissioners should resign for putting out such an incendiary and there's no basis for it. It really calls your judgment into question and your integrity. So it's only serving the individual interests of these board members and not the Douglas County citizens to sweep this under the rug. So either one of you are corrupt or two of you are dishonest or have extremely poor judgment. So which is it? Neither one is good. Neither one is good for the county, but one is true. So which one is it? And finally, just because of how this has all gone down, it might be good to finally maybe give consideration to expand the commission to 5 members so you don't get a 2-to-1 on everyone. It'd be easier if we had 4 people all saying Commissioner Thomas did something. People might believe it a bit more rather than just 2 ganging up on her. And have those 5 commissioners represent districts in the county rather than the entire county. But again, putting out something like that and then just leaving it out there without following up, that's not helping Douglas County at all. So again, either one of you is corrupt or 2 of you, your judgment is just extremely bad. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Troy, can you give us our next guest?
Yes, next in line I have Pam Long. Pam, you are unmuted. Go ahead.
My name is Pam Long from Franktown, Long, and I demand immediate reinstatement of Laura Thomas as chair. I request the following 7 items under a Cora request before there's any action against Laura Thomas. 1, what actions justify removal of chair and censure, and how was public input allowed in the stakeholder process to provide input on these actions? 2, Laura Thomas has been the only commissioner to ever respond to my emails with timely response by text, email, or phone call. Neither Mr. Layden nor Mr. Teal have ever responded to my emails. Shall we audit the commissioner's emails to see how responsive they are to the public before removing the most responsive commissioner? I can make this happen. 3, Mr. Layden has childcare challenges that prevent him from coming into the office that he holds. Shall we make him the chair, even if he cannot consistently attend in person? Mr. Teal was just elected in November. Shall we make him the vice chair with much less experience than Laura? This rotating chair compromise is childish. 4, my husband, who is an unaffiliated voter, received a text message last week on behalf of Layden and Teal, implying that Thomas was unfit as a leader. Thomas has national and state recognitions. Why did I not get this text message as a registered active Republican voter? Did the women of Douglas County not receive this text message? Who funded this text campaign? Something is off. 5, how did you notify the public of these proceedings? I only knew about it after the bizarre text message that my husband received, implying there was some schoolboy bullying against Laura that prompted me to look deeper. Something is off. 6, are we censuring Thomas because she criticized financial boondoggles like the wildlife experience multi-million-dollar potential expense that is a money pit for taxpayers? Are the boys throwing a tantrum because they were caught giving payback projects to the supporters? Something is off. 7, the 2 guys wanted an elected woman to sign an apology letter, gag order, and probationary status that they drafted? Do you have any connection to what is going on and what matters right now? What is going on?
Thank you, Ms. Long. If we can bring in the next guest, Troy.
Thank you, Commissioner. That will be Melissa Atchley. Melissa, you are unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. My name is Melissa Atchley. I live in the Pinery in Parker. I'm just zooming in to say that I really support Laura Thomas and I would like her to be reinstated as chair. I agree with the last caller in that Mrs. Thomas is the only commissioner who responded to me and my needs when my disabled son was being heavily discriminated against last year. And she worked with us and worked with places that were discriminating against him to gain access for him during the COVID pandemic. So I am honored to be able to call and say, please reinstate her. I am appalled at what appears to be bullying. And I keep looking for facts that show that Mrs. Thomas is doing something wrong and I can't find it. So I would like her reinstated, and I would like the commissioners to stop messing around and playing with tax dollars for these circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ashley. Troy, who's next?
Denise Dirks did have to leave. She had to pick up her child. She just wanted to echo to reinstate Commissioner Thomas as quickly as possible. Next on the list would be Robert Fox. Hang on just a moment. I am unable to unmute Robert Fox, so we will move on to Julie D. Julie, you are unmuted. Go ahead. Please state your name and address.
Thank you. My name is Julie Detton. I live on Brantley Avenue in Castlewood Ranch. I've been a Douglas County resident since 2008 when my husband and I bought our first house here as young newlyweds. We moved hundreds of miles away from our families. We had no community when we came. We chose Castle Rock because it was the county seat. It was embedded with deep history and because it seemed like a wonderful small town to be a part of. I spent some time working for Douglas County Schools. I was a member of the Town of Castle Rock Historic Preservation Board for 4 years. Being that we were so far from our family, we sought to build a life and a community here. And we've always enjoyed the conservative values that are treasured, now I would say coveted, in a state that is more purple and blue these days. The pandemic has shown me more than ever how important it is to protect those values in my home and in my community. I commend the commissioners on how the pandemic was handled in Douglas County. I felt as though you all worked hard to protect Douglas County, and I actually had a few communications with Commissioner Thomas. She was the only commissioner who actually responded to my emails and my phone calls. Nonetheless, I viewed all of you as a team who stood up for the constituents. I was really proud to be a Douglas County resident during the pandemic, and I'm still proud. So imagine the shock I felt when a friend mentioned to me that they received this weird text message from Commissioners Teal and Layden stating that Laura Thomas was more or less an incompetent leader. I'm not sure why my friend got the message and I did not, because I'm a Douglas County resident and it was addressed to Douglas County residents. Each one of you commissioners have stated that you are in favor of transparent government. And I don't know what's up with you all, but I do know this. 5 months ago, November of 2020, I, along with the majority of Douglas County residents, elected Laura Thomas as one of our county commissioners. We also elected George Teal. Laura has a proven voting record that she stands for the values of Douglas County. And she was very recently selected as an elected official of the year by a Douglas County business group. She was a champion for Douglas County during the pandemic. I voted for Laura when she ran for coroner in 2011. She earned my trust, enough for me to vote for her again as commissioner in 2016. And throughout that term, she reaffirmed her commitment to representing Douglas County residents, not her own self-interest, and I voted for her again in the last election. I like her and I trust her. Commissioners Layden and Teal, you have not yet established that trust simply because you're newer elected officials. I haven't had as many opportunities to interact with you. But the actions today of censuring Commissioner Thomas and removing her as chair, which I now understand is not what's going to happen, but just the thought of it, the audacity of anybody to think that that is appropriate right now is not going to gain my trust or the trust of Douglas County residents. Transparent government and politicians are hard to come by. And right now, that does not seem to fit in with what is transparent. This is only going to divide Douglas County and hurt your reputations. Commissioner Thomas represents me and my family. She is bold, and we need boldness today more than we've ever needed it before. She's willing to speak openly about issues and inform constituents about what is going on in the county, and that embodies the type of transparency that I would expect from elected officials. Censorship of her will only lead me to believe that Commissioners Teal and Layden do not support that transparency. I ask please that the commissioners immediately reinstate Laura Thomas as the chair. The petty disputes have to end. You don't have to like your coworkers. I realize you guys didn't pick each other, but as elected
And Ms.
officials—
Dutton, I'm sorry, but you are out of time. If you can wrap up, please.
Yes, I can. As elected officials, you have to figure out a way to get along for the good of the community that you serve. Please reinstate Laura Thomas as chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dutton. Troy, do we have any other guests online?
Yes, sir. I have two more speakers at this time.
Okay.
We're going to go back to Robert Fox. Mr. Fox, you're unmuted. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to speak to the committee. As I approached this testimony, I went back to our founding documents. The U.S. Constitution is our basis for our laws. It's our authority. The Declaration of Independence says endowed by our creators. So we are the creatures. There's a creator that created us. That's, again, our authority. The Colorado Constitution begins in the first part of it with profound reverence for the supreme ruler of the universe. Again, our authority. So I'm addressing this to Commissioners Layden and Teal. Are you looking at the words of the supreme ruler of the universe for guidance in addressing this conflict? Here's what the supreme ruler, Almighty God, has to say, and I'm reading out of Joshua. It says, be strong and courageous. Be strong and courageous. Be strong and very courageous. Be strong and courageous. Be strong and courageous. 4 times. In chapter 1, where Moses had died and God picked Joshua to lead the people into the promised land. Be strong and courageous. And in Paul's letter to the in 1 Corinthians, to the church, chapter 16, reading out of verses 13 and 14, it says, be watchful and stand firm in the faith. Act like men. Be strong. Let all that you do be done in love. Well, the translation of act like men is also can also be translated courageous. So my question is, this action that's being proposed against Chair Thomas, is it being done in love? Another reading out of the first letter of Peter, chapter 3. Finally, all of you have unity of mind, sympathy, brotherly love, a tender heart, and a humble mind. And so I'll leave you with this question or this suggestion. So Commissioners Layden and Teal, man up, display brotherly love, a tender heart, humble mind, and retain Laura Thomas as chair of the Douglas County Commissioners. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Fox.
Next, I have Bradley Treed. Bradley, you are unmuted. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Bradley Trady, and I reside at 6497 Mountain Manor Court in Parker. Commissioners, I first want to applaud you in resolving the restrictions in the county as it pertains to dial. Those actions required a lot of decisions that may have been favorable to some and not to others. I've supported you in and out of the elections. After the 3 of you work together, I find it appalling that 2 of you and someone who has only spent a couple months recently elected along with someone who used to agree with the commissioner more times than not disagrees with her now. Sounds like a hidden agenda. You're coming out to tell Commissioner Laura Thomas that she is not worthy to sit as a chairwoman of the BOCC and have lost trust in her. But wait, if we recall the commissioner business meeting on 4/13, Commissioner Layden, you stated what we do is not always easy and we don't always agree and bring different perspectives to this and are 3 for a reason. Listen to that, 3 for a reason. So now, because she's not one of the good old boys, you do not like the actions that Commissioner Thomas performs. Does that negate your comment? It sounds fake to me. Now, before being elected, Laura spent over 2 decades in public service, servicing the community with CSP. And now, Commissioner Teal, I cannot tell you how many times I've heard you say, for the people, by the people, as found in the Constitution. Commissioner Thomas was elected by the people for the people. In 2011, she was elected as coroner. And you want facts? Well, 40% of the cases increased while she was coroner, and she reduced the budget by 30%. She made hard decisions that people didn't like, and today it still benefited our county. In 2020, again, she was reelected for the people, by the people. Everything she has done has been for the people. She is only true elected conservative to this BOCC. Honesty is key in your roles. Commissioner Teal, if we want to talk about integrity, how about that VFW incident at the election? And for Commissioner Layden, on that 413 meeting, you said, incredibly proud to serve with each of you. And thank you for your service to our community. Was that a lie towards Commissioner Thomas? So who sent the text messages, or do I need to get a FCC FOIA request? Where's Maury Povich when we need his lie detector test? I think both of you need to apologize to the county and reconsider what Laura Thomas has done for our county. In Colorado, before either of you suggest that Commissioner Thomas is not an effective chairwoman. Oh, and let's be honest, censuring her is just stupid because it clearly tells me that you don't care about her freedom of speech. The Constitution, the Bill of Rights is your prop. You both are on a power trip. You need to be working together for our county and each of us that you represent, not arguing like 6-year-olds putting Laura in timeout. Well, I thank both of you for your public service and will continue to support you. Please reconsider your actions, as they will have grave consequences in future elections with liberals. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tree.
That is
Troy.
all the hands raised I have, sir.
That's everybody on your list. Okay, thank you. I will
Yes,
now
sir.
bring it, thank you, Troy. I will bring the discussion back to the board.
I would just like to thank everyone who's stayed so long, and let's stay involved in our community and our governance. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you all for your comments. Let's try that again. Thank you all for your comments. I appreciate hearing them. I mean, I appreciate the passion you brought today. I appreciate the very specific issues that I heard you bring forward. So thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
So I would just echo those sentiments. This meeting today is in the middle of an afternoon, and you're taking your time to be with us, to spend your time with us. I'll say it again. We work for you, not the other way around. And so whether you agree with us or disagree with us, it is so important to hear from you, and I'm thrilled to death that you're here. I remain in...
Laura say that?
Well, let's...
I hear her say that she works for us.
Thank you, sir. We're going to try to keep order here. Okay, thank you. Let's.
We do want to hear it.
Okay, order. Let's have some order in here. Again, you guys, everyone, our tensions are running high. It's been a challenging year, a challenging time. But one of the most exciting things about today is the beacon of light that so many of you referenced. That each of us, despite our differences, have a desire to serve you as conservatives, as Republicans, and continue to lead not only in Douglas County, but throughout the state. I honestly believe that we have the ability to work through these issues as a board. And, you know, at all times, all of our meetings are publicly broadcast. You can Quora anything you'd like. Those are all open records, so that's all available to you. I welcome you to that. Authenticity, transparency is very important to all of us. But as you said, I think there are times when it's important for the board to work through petty differences and significant differences and serious concerns in a way that honors you and reflects you best. So I just thank each of you for your time today. I want you to continue to hold us accountable, keep engaged, and we hope to see you back as we continue to work together over the next 30 days. We hope we have better news in store. So with that, I'll bring it back to the board for any further discussion or a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve a resolution revising certain appointments of the Board of County Commissioners.
I have a first and a second. All in favor of that motion, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. And that motion passes 3-0. And again, thank you to everyone for coming today. We will now move on to item 3 on the agenda, which is the consent agenda. And we are very thankful today that we are making a new appointment to the Tri-County Board of Health. And I think what we'll do at this time is take a 5-minute recess for folks that are interested in leaving to exit, and then we'll continue from there. Thank you.
Audio test. Test. Microphone check. Nothing.
Yeah. Testing, test. Yeah.
Wide open. Okay. I heard that.
Give me a call on that. I'd like to talk to him more.
You're right there. Yeah.
The director who supervises,
Yeah.
the fairgrounds.
Horses for sure. Yeah. And you feel like it's hard to.
Yes.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Tim Hallmark, who is actually the director of all facilities, it's something he and I have been working on.
Can you send us a proposal that would work for you, and maybe you can come back and share that with us in a work session, and let's get it done. Okay? All right, good, absolutely. Let me,
Uncovered a couple of practices. Chris, is there any way that has led to this young lady one of my cars? And,
some issues.
I'd like
she has in my contact info, that'd be great. And then we will hopefully come up with a way that this works for you guys. Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for being here today. Middle of the day on a Monday, Tuesday. Did you? Yeah. Tough for everybody else. It's got to be fair. Yeah. On a holiday.
And we're not just talking COVID stuff. We're talking.
Yeah, yeah.
Please give me a
Okay.
call because.
So make it fair and make it more accessible. That's what I'm hearing you say. Okay, well, let's work on that.
Really
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll get your information over here. Just a second.
And it's Aspen Edge, right?
Yes. Just to let you know, CJ is going to be our host going forward. She had to drop off, so.
Oh, she did?
Yes.
Okay.
He will bring us back, and then he'll be with us for land use.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for hanging in.
Yeah.
You just want your rope back.
Yeah, that too. I'd like to have a controlled environment.
Sure. Thank you for your honesty.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
That will continue. You know, this is a challenging time, but I continue to say that bad things happen when good people are silent. You hadn't gotten up. There are a lot of people that are very confused. You know. No, let me. It's now 3:15 if we're ready to reconvene from our brief recess. We're going to move forward on through our agenda to our consent agenda. And normally we'll approve all of the items in the consent agenda, but today we do have a special guest who is our new appointee to the Tri-County Health Department. I'm really pleased to welcome Kim Muramuto to the dais. Hi, Kim, welcome.
So nice to meet you in person. Do you want my address?
Sure, I think that's our normal procedure, yeah.
So it's Kim Muramuto. My address is 8010 Clearwater Drive in Lone Tree, Colorado, 80124.
Thank you, Kim. And did you have any comments for us today or anything that you would like to share? I know we certainly do.
I don't know if I need to talk about my background or any history.
Well, if there's anything you'd like to share with us about your perspective on the health department and what your role might look like going into the future, that might be interesting for our citizens, but we're mostly here just to thank and acknowledge you.
Well, I just think that especially right now with the pandemic, and you can see a lot of the consequences of the pandemic. There's a lot of stress, mental illness, a lot of intoxicant use, and that's kind of areas that I've really worked on. However, really my background has been around trauma here in Colorado, although I am a third-generation native here from Colorado. I'm a master's prepared nurse, and some of my focus has always been doing things around injury prevention and any assistance into the community. So for the last 18 years, I've been working on depression, suicidality, having access to mental care is really, and mental health is really one area that we're looking at, and really promoting and identifying evidence-based programs. And that's key to what I feel would be my role here, would be looking at evidence-based and really managing around the data, accurate, valid data in order to really serve the people of Douglas County. But I also serve as a medical expert witness, and I serve on the ethics committee at the hospital. I currently oversee 16 hospitals for trauma registry, data analytics, and research. But I've also managed 8 different hospitals and built and maintained trauma centers in the area. So I'm really looking forward to this opportunity just to be able to serve and really seeking that collaboration and collegiality so that we could be as effective as possible, so that we can effectively serve the people of Douglas County. This is a volunteer position for me. I'm not looking for anything else. I already have a job, a lot of work to do in that job. So anything that I could do to serve the people of Douglas County is my intent.
Well, thank you, Ms. Muramuto. Does the board have anything that they would like to share with Ms. Muramuto today?
Yes, thank you. I met Kim when the governor appointed me to the SEMTAC board. And when I first got there, they told me to come a day early and wander around and go to different rooms to see the different subcommittees. And I wandered into a room, and Kim, you had just rewritten a subchapter in some manual. Was that chapter 3?
It was chapter 4 for the state of Colorado that pertains to rules and regulations around trauma centers. And they hadn't been rewritten for like 15 years, so we had a lot of work to do there. And it was an interesting process as well. So
the room was full of all these people who had been collaborating with Kim. And I was mesmerized by how you took command of that room and rewrote all of these rules. And that's when I first met you. And then the next day I went to the first SEMTAC board meeting. And you were there, you gave a very concise report, you continually were involved in the conversation, and I thought, my gosh, this woman is a leader. And so I got to know you, and you're no longer on SEMTAC because you were term limited. Mm-hmm. But yesterday, on Monday, SEMTAC had an emergency meeting because there is some pending legislation, 1251, that we were trying to take a position on. And the reason I knew about 1251 is because Kim called me as soon as it was introduced and said, you need to pay attention to this and you need to make sure your sheriff's office knows about this. And even though she's not even on SEMTAC anymore, she was calling me ahead of time to give me the update on what to look for. So yesterday I'm on this meeting and all of a sudden my phone clicks And Kim's there telling me what to do and what to be prepared for and what to be aware of and to what to look for. So this woman is going to be an excellent representative for us on the Tri-County Board of Health. You've been a flight nurse. Let's see, you also, how many trauma centers?
So I worked in the emergency department. I've worked at 8 different ICUs from neonatal to adult. I was a flight nurse for 16 years. 2 programs in California. One was UC Davis and then Flight for Life Colorado here.
Wildfire?
Yeah, I have a bachelor's degree in really it's environmental interpretation and fire science.
Yeah, so you're kind of like Wikipedia. So just welcome to our Board of Health membership for us. We are so looking forward to you providing great information to the Board of Health on our behalf. Kim, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Commissioner Teal?
Thank you, sir.
And we're just going to continue to sing your praises up here.
Oh, I'll keep it short. It was great getting to know you during your interview. It's great seeing you here in person. But no, the level of confidence, I hope you've gotten the impression, the level of confidence that the board has in you to go to Tri-County Health Board, represent all of us here in Douglas County, not just the board, is tremendous. And I wish you good luck. Do good. Let us know how we can help.
Will do. Thank you.
Well, and Kim, I'll just round out the comments by saying, you know, through all my years in private practice as a land use attorney and all the interviews that I had of new associates and staff coming in, and certainly all the interviews we've had here, you were probably the very best interview that I've ever conducted. And your background, experience, education, commitment, and willingness to serve just blew my doors off. And I don't want to speak for my fellow commissioners, but I think you heard that. And I just want to reemphasize that you are data-driven. You are a Centura Health Trauma System Director. And so your ability to understand data analytics and provide that information objectively across all measures of public health is truly going to serve Douglas County. So thank you for your service. We appreciate you. We're looking forward to good things.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. And with that, I will bring back the consent agenda to the board for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the requests in all items A through Y of the consent agenda.
I will second.
We have a first and second on the consent agenda. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed, say no. And that passes 3-0. We will now move to our regular agenda. We are going to move to 4A, which is our resolution proclaiming May 2021 as Mental Health Awareness Month. Barbara Drake presenting.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I am here with Laura Cinconi, our Douglas County Mental Health Initiative Coordinator, and she and I will be sharing the presentation. Before we read the resolution, we would like to take you through some of the accomplishments of the Mental Health Initiative since its inception. And I do want to, before we start, I want to recognize the Board of County Commissioners for your tremendous support of the efforts of the Douglas County Mental Health Initiative and kind of all things mental health. I also want to thank our other colleagues, along with Laura, Maggie Cooper, and Leandra Montoya, that are part of our county team. And I want to thank Doug for his vision back in 2014 when he said to me, we can do better. And that really was the genesis of our mental health initiative. Next slide, please. So we wanted to show you quickly, and I believe you have this presentation in front of you. We're just going to hit the highlights. That we started the Mental Health Initiative in 2014. It really took off in 2016 when we hired the Mental Health Initiative Coordinator, and at that time a project analyst who was actually Laura that we hired at that time. It really took off, and it showed the county's significant commitment to hiring somebody full-time to really advance this. As you know, we started with the community response team. We launched our first co-responder team in May of 2017, and by the end of 2019, we had 4 co-responder teams. We also, in 2018, worked with a group called HMA that helped us develop a blueprint. We wanted a comprehensive blueprint for what a community-based mental health system would look like for Douglas County. And we have been systematically implementing recommendations in that blueprint ever since, and Laura will touch on that. In addition, we started sort of restructuring the mental health initiative to really work toward these activities in that blueprint. In 2020, we launched a anti-stigma campaign called Let's Talk. We also launched a web-based toolkit that's really interesting for youth. Laura will tell you a little bit more about that. And one of our signature strategies was launched at the end of 2020, the CARE Compact program, that we'll also tell you a little bit more about. In 2021, we are looking to move the CARE Compact from a pilot program to a fully implemented program available to many more of our citizens. In 2021, we are also incorporating the Douglas Arapahoe Suicide Prevention Alliance into the governance of the mental health initiative at their request. So we'll be advancing some additional strategies around suicide prevention. Next slide. I know this is a program that you all are very proud of, that you all have supported, but we wanted to show you in the years that we've implemented the co-responder program that we have served nearly 4,000 unique individuals through this program. Highlights of this are 855 people that were not taken to the emergency department because of the co-responder response on the scene, and 331 people that would have otherwise been arrested for behaviors primarily associated with being mentally ill were not arrested and were instead connected with mental health resources in our community, and they did not go down that path. We're on track to equate our cost avoidance really in just a couple of areas to over $6 million by the end of the year this year. The CARE Compact is a small program. We thus far have engaged 7 clients. We have 8 partner agencies, one of which is taking the lead in providing care coordination for each of these individuals. So it's starting out small. But what's significant about it is these are 7 people with extraordinarily complex mental health, substance use disorder, and as you can see, some of them also have intellectual and developmental disabilities. These are some of the folks that take up the most resources in our community and are some of the most difficult people to not only get into treatment, but keep engaged in treatment. And this is the work that Leandra and Laura are doing. So it's 7 lives and their families that are being positively impacted. And we hope to continue our work with the CARE Compact and expand it to not only take additional referrals from partners, but we also are looking to take referrals from family members that are very worried about their family members accessing mental health treatment, and from individuals that would like to come into the CARE Compact and have their care coordinated across multiple agencies. So we'll be excited to report to you the expansion of this program in 2021. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Laura Cinconi.
Thank you, Barbara. Laura?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Laura Cinconi for staff. And next slide, please. In addition to the CRT and CARE Compact programs, the Mental Health Initiative is advancing other strategies that are in line with the blueprint that Barbara mentioned in support of a strong community-based mental health delivery system. These are the rebranding mental health and substance use work group and the gaps in interventions work group. The rebranding mental health and substance use work group, as Barbara mentioned, relaunched the Let's Talk Anti-Stigma campaign last year. This is a research-based, Colorado-based anti-stigma campaign to which the Board of County Commissioners contributed by filming PSAs alongside other elected officials and leaders across the county. These were shared widely on social media, along with several other posts relating to mental health and well-being. And through that initiative, we have reached thousands and also driven thousands more to the Let's Talk website to learn more about how to start the conversation about mental health and well-being. The toolkit is a web-based platform for information, screening tools, treatment, and other supports in 4 core areas: mental health, substance use, intellectual and developmental disability, and well-being. This is a prevention, early intervention tool, and it tailors information based on age group. So we're very mindful of presenting information that is appropriate by age. And we're also very interested in making sure that all resources, especially treatment and support, are accessible, meaning that we have included resources that accept anywhere from private insurance to Medicaid to Medicare to out-of-pocket payment options, as well as one option that provides free counseling. We are currently exploring a pilot with the toolkit, partnering with the school district, focusing on youth, and hope to launch that this summer. Next slide, please. So part of our charge in the Mental Health Initiative has always been to bring more resources into Douglas County. And since the commissioners and county leadership established the Mental Health Initiative in 2014, we've seen an increase in mental health resources in and around Douglas County. What the Mental Health Initiative does is provide a platform for community partners who provide behavioral health services to collaborate, to share information, to understand what the gaps are, and then fill them. And this is evidence of how our partners have been hard at work in the community responding to our needs. And I'll highlight just a few of these. We have more outpatient clinics now in Douglas County than we did in 2014, evidenced by All Health Network's effort and LifeStance Health. We also have an additional inpatient hospital that we didn't have before. They've actually opened another Parker location specifically for youth within the last couple of years. We have additional detox services, which we did not have before for certain substances, which is excellent as well. Next slide, please. And finally, our organizational community partners who really make it possible for us to do this work. And they represent the following sectors: behavioral health, both mental health and substance use disorder providers, intellectual and developmental disability services, first responders, which include law enforcement, fire, and emergency medical services, the justice and judiciary system, county government, schools, hospitals, community-based organizations, youth services, the faith community, public health, our regional accountable entity, or our Medicaid RAE, and crisis services. And with that, unless there are comments from the board, I will begin reading the resolution proclaiming May 2021 as Mental Health Awareness Month.
Great. Laura, why don't you go ahead and read that resolution, and then we'll bring it back to the board for some comments.
Thank you. Whereas mental health is part of overall health, and whereas mental health conditions are common in the United States, with 1 in 5 U.S. adults and 1 in 6 U.S. youth aged 6 to 17 experiencing a mental health problem in any given year. And whereas approximately 1/2 of chronic mental illness begins by the age of 14 and 3/4 by age 24. And whereas long delays, on average 10 years, but sometimes decades, often occur between the time symptoms first appear and when individuals get help. And whereas suicide ranks as the 10th leading cause of death in the United States, the 2nd leading cause among individuals between the ages of 10 and 34 nationally, the 7th leading cause of death in Colorado, and the #1 cause of death among individuals 10 to 24 years old in Colorado. And 69% of men and 31% of women who die by suicide have a known mental health condition. And whereas the coronavirus and pandemic mitigation efforts have greatly impacted mental health across the nation, with 40% of U.S. adults reporting symptoms of anxiety or depression at the beginning of 2021. Whereas the Douglas County Mental Health Initiative was established in 2014 under the leadership of the Board of County Commissioners to address mental health system gaps and is currently represented by 40+ organizational members dedicated to improving health outcomes in Douglas County. And whereas the Douglas County Mental Health Initiative launched the Community Response Team program in May 2017, and between May 2017 and December 2020, served 3,392 unique individuals, prevented 856 unnecessary trips to the emergency department for mental health crisis, prevented 331 jail bookings, served 1,039 people through its case management service, and saved an estimated $6.46 million in fire and emergency medical services, emergency departments, and jail costs alone. And whereas the community response team has expanded to 4 teams now serving the entire county, including the youth CRT, and whereas the Douglas County Mental Health Initiative launched a new program in December 2020, the CARE Compact, to provide care coordination for individuals with complex mental health, substance use, intellectual and developmental disabilities, and safety net needs. And whereas the Douglas County Mental Health Initiative is actively working on multiple strategies to improve the mental health network system of care, address the persistent stigma that surrounds mental health conditions and substance abuse through anti-stigma campaigns and public education opportunities, and develops technology solutions to increase awareness of resources in the community and encourage mental health and substance use screening. And whereas the Douglas County Mental Health Initiative supports and encourages early identification and treatment, which can make a difference in successful management of mental illness and recovery, maintenance of mental well-being, and learning the symptoms of mental illness in order to get help when it's needed, engagement of every citizen and community in ending the silence and stigma that for too long has surrounded mental illness and discouraged people from getting help, public education and civic activities, which can encourage mental health and help improve the lives of individuals and families affected by mental illness. Be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Douglas, Colorado, do hereby proclaim May 1st through May 31st, 2021, as Mental Health Awareness Month to shine a light on mental health conditions and fight stigma, provide support, and educate the public and advocate for equal care.
Thank you, Laura and Barbara. Any questions or comments?
Wow. So the mental health program in Douglas County did start in 2014. I was the coroner, and we had that really bad, that awful young man the awful situation that had happened to Robert when he fell through the cracks, and his mother died, and all of that. But out of that tragedy came all of this. And Laura, I had the pleasure of seeing you and Maggie do a presentation a week ago last night at the Lone Tree Town Council. And I sat there and I watched the two of you, and you were just so professional. You knew this language, you knew the story, and you portrayed it in such a good way that the next day Winshaw saw me and she said, wow, we need to find money to do this program. You're such a good salesman because you know what you all have accomplished. So my gratitude goes to you, because the number of suicides in 2019 in Douglas County were less than 2018, and in 2020 they were less than what there were in 2019. So while communities across the country are seeing their suicide numbers go up because of COVID, I believe, the numbers in Douglas County continue to drop. And I truly believe that is because of the great work that you all are the backbone of pulling 40-some partners together. and helping not only the individual who has mental illness, but their support system, their family, who has been struggling for years to help them. So my hat's off to you, and let's use this next month of May to highlight the great opportunities that are available in Douglas County for those suffering mental illness issues. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Commissioner Teal?
Thank you, sir. Well, coming out of Castle Rock Municipal Council, we saw the development of the CRT program, brought to us by Jack Hawley, police chief for Castle Rock. And initially, I was a doubting Thomas. I really had my doubts that it really could have a positive effect. But now we see these numbers and we see the achievements that you guys have made here in the last couple of years, and the real benefits for the people of Douglas County, the real benefits for those who have had to come through, the process that you've created, and staying out of the justice system, staying out of the emergency system. It's just from a guy who didn't buy it at all when I first heard about it. I'm just very impressed. It's almost something that takes my breath away. So my hat's off to you guys. Keep up the great work. We're counting on you, and thanks so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Teal. This is an unfamiliar territory, and I began my career after undergrad with a research psychologist out of UCLA in human services. And so when I came on board, it was such an incredible honor to be able to hear about the good work that you've been doing for many years before I even arrived. I think and know as we emerge from COVID that there will be a lot of recovery. And we've talked a lot about economic recovery, but I think we're all aware. And today might have highlighted the importance of mental health and mental health awareness. When we look at those statistics, I think it's so important to recognize that we are being fiscally accountable, and the diversions from jails and hospitals truly save our taxpayers money. And it also decriminalizes and destigmatizes mental health crisis. And so I just want to thank you, Barbara, and thank you, Laura, for your incredible work building that bridge between the challenges our citizens face and those critical resources. So thank you. And I'll bring it back to the board for any additional discussion or a motion.
Chairman, I'll be happy to make a motion to approve a resolution proclaiming May 2021 as Mental Health Awareness Month.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All those in favor of that motion, please signal by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. And that passes 3-0. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Okay, we will now move to item 4B, and I thank you, everyone in the audience, for your patience with our longer meeting today, but we will move to item B, which is the resolution recognizing 80 Works for supporting Douglas County small businesses. Lauren Pulver from staff.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Lauren Pulver with staff. Over the past year, Arapahoe Douglas Works, specifically the business services team, led by Stephanie Mufik, have been a critical partner to the county in administering the county's CARES Act grants and the state small business relief funds. This partnership enabled the county to provide financial relief to small businesses throughout the county. The resolution before you is to acknowledge this partnership and the role 80 Works played in supporting the county's small business community. Kelly Folks and Stephanie Mufik are here with us today, and I believe there are additional 80 Works members that have joined us virtually.
Thank you, Lauren. Would you like to have Kelly or any of our guests join us or make any comments? Sorry to put you guys on the spot, but you're special people.
You're good. Thank you.
Welcome.
We just want to say thank you for the opportunity to serve Douglas County. Thank you for letting our workforce board serve through difficult times and help you all the best that we could during these times. And I want to thank my business services team, obviously, because they are rock stars. But I think the partnership with all of you has been significant. And Commissioner Layden specifically, thank you for serving on our workforce board and for committing to ultimately making sure that we're able to serve the Douglas County citizens as best as possible, get them the services they need, get them back to work, get them the skills-based training they need, et cetera. And most importantly, to be able to serve our business community. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
I don't know
Folks.
if you have anything
And Ms.
additional.
Folks, if you're able to just state your business address for the record.
Yes, our business address is 6964 South Lima Street, Centennial.
Thank you, Ms. Folks.
I just want to say thank you for the partnership.
Would you like to just say your name and
Sorry.
address for the record?
Sorry, I'm Stephanie Muthick with Arapahoe Douglas Works. I'm the Business Services Manager. And I just want to say thank you for the partnership. Lauren and Dan have been wonderful to work with, the commissioners, the Douglas County businesses. We were really lucky to be in a position to help a little bit. And my team, I'm just very lucky to have a great team, and we were happy to help. And thank you so much for the recognition. That's very nice. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'll bring it back to, actually what we're going to do, I guess prior to commissioner comments, is a photograph. So if my fellow commissioners can join me down in front of the dais, and if you're open to it, we'll take a quick photograph.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, we have our badges on and.
So Lauren, if you'd like to read the resolution for us, then we'll bring it back to the board.
Whereas, throughout the coronavirus pandemic, AD Works has provided support and resources to small businesses in Douglas County. And whereas, AD Works organized and managed the Douglas County Recovery Task Force to act as a resource hub for the county's Chamber of Commerce and other business support organizations. And whereas, the AD Works Business Services team has been a critical partner in providing staff resources and creating infrastructure for the administration of Douglas County's small business grants, providing a lifeline to small businesses in the community. And whereas, the AD Works Business Services team assisted in the processing of over 700 grant applications in such a manner that Douglas County was able to provide approximately $20 million in CARES Act funds and state funds for grants to small businesses in the county. And whereas, in appreciation of the dedication of their staff in support of the county's small businesses, the Board of County Commissioners would like to recognize AD Works. And now, therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners for the County of Douglas, State of Colorado, hereby recognize the critical partnership of AD Works in providing relief to the county's small businesses.
Thank you, Lauren. Any comments or questions from the board?
I would just like to thank everyone who worked so hard last year, excuse me, to help get our businesses some funding. It was not their choice that they weren't open. And I think that the work that you all did, our staff and AD Works, probably saved a lot of businesses. I bet you all worked lots of hours. So thank you for your time and dedication.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Commissioner Teal?
My comments are brief, just because I wasn't up here last year to see everything you guys were doing. Obviously, what we're hearing from today is phenomenal. Again, just like Barbara and Laura, keep up the good work. We're counting on you, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Teal. And I'll just echo my board that we are incredibly thankful for the presence of 80 Works and your involvement with Douglas County. I am truly honored to serve on your board and get to hear from you. And I really want to acknowledge your economist, Patrick Hallwell, that works out of Arapahoe County but provides such detailed information and reports for us. You know, this is really timely because we talked about COVID recovery today. A big piece of that is mental health. The other piece is the economics. You've often heard, maybe those that have tuned in have heard that, you know, we lost 260,000 jobs this last year. Colorado went from 4th best in the country for unemployment to 4th worst, moved up to 35th, I think, based on Patrick's most recent report. But we got to do better than that. And we saw Douglas County's unemployment go from, 2% up to a high of 10%. I think we're back down to 6.3. But that workforce is such a critical piece to the recovery. So we're really looking forward to working closely with 80 Works, and it's an honor to support this resolution. So thank you again for being here. And I'll bring it back to the board for for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I have a motion to approve a resolution recognizing 80 Works for supporting Douglas County small businesses.
And I will be happy to second.
We have a first and second in favor of that resolution. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed say nay. And that passes on 3-0 vote. Congratulations and thank you for being here. And that concludes our regular agenda for today. Is there any other business? No other business. And we do have our county manager's report within the agenda today. And I want to turn it to Doug DeBoard if he has any comments on our report. Okay. And then finally, we'll turn it to commissioner comments. Do we have any commissioner comments to round out our day today?
I do quickly. I would like to honor Mr. Jarrett Dirks. Yesterday at the Eagle Scout Court of Honor, he received his award. He built a complex construction project at Ascent Classical School. This is a charter school, and the kids didn't have a lot of playground equipment. So he built this really huge thing with all sorts of cool stuff that kids just love. So I'd like to honor Jarrett Dirks for receiving his Eagle Scout Award. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas, and congratulations to Mr. Dirks. Commissioner Teal, did you have any commissioner comments?
No further comments for this meeting, sir.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to acknowledge our board, our staff, all of our guests. It's been a big day, and we have a lot to work through, but I continue to believe that this county is a beacon of light and can continue to work together well as friends and colleagues. Our next business meeting will be held on Tuesday, May 11th, 2021 at 1:30. This meeting is adjourned.